Hey, what's going on YouTube? Just coming through with another update. Uh, 2 videos this week. I guess you guys are lucky. I just wanted to get some things off my mind. Essentially, a lot of people ask me, what does it feel like being rejected by every single girl that you've ever approached? And I kind of want to start this off with a story. Uh, Probably the most depressing story I've ever told. Haven't really told a whole lot of people. There are a few people, a few subscribers that know about it. But there was this one time, well, actually, it was 4 different times. I tried to hire 4 different hookers on different various points in my life. 2 of them never ended up showing up, even though we set up a time and date and all that stuff. And the 2 that did show up, they ended up declining me at the point of sale after seeing what I look like. And I had the money and everything, so that wasn't really an issue. Um, I really, I think one of them was really just not really like didn't like how I looked, so that was kind of a disappointment. And the other one, she didn't really give a reason. She just said she wasn't interested all of a sudden. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna force these hookers to have sex with me and go. We that I'm far from a rapist. Um, but regardless, um, uh, dealing with rejection, especially at that level, when you get rejected by hookers, when other guys that were virgins that paid for hookers got laid by hookers, um, a lot of it, um, it just it makes you second question your existence. But I've moved past that now. It's to the point where rejection is a thing that you find solidarity in. Um, it's not really something that bothers me as much anymore. I guess you could say. It's kind of like you you get whipped you get whipped enough. It just becomes you can't beat a dead horse. Essentially, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We're coming up with some shitty analogies here, but anyway, so dealing with the rejection currently. A lot of people ask, how do you deal with rejection? What does it feel like? Getting rejected, the feeling never goes away. You still feel shitty after getting rejected. I think that goes for anybody, no matter how many times you've been rejected. The thing is over time you learn how to cope with it better, so that way it's not really affecting you as much. Because when you've been rejected on a mass amount of scale, as I have, um, it just becomes part of your everyday life, really. Um, doesn't really. I mean, it still hurts the initial rejection. You still it takes shots at your ego and stuff. But um, since I've been rejected so much, probably more than any guy I've ever met or known, um, especially with the hookers, that was really a blow to the ego. That took a little while. I didn't ask out any girls for a little while after each one of those, but it comes with time, just solidarity and learning how to cope with it. Like now when I get rejected, I just go make music. A couple hours later, sometimes I'll take a nap. Just depends. Feeling goes away a couple hours later. Back when I was in my early 20s, it was a little bit different. The rejection would affect me for days. Same with the hookers, because you can't get laid, so what do? You hire hookers. But if that doesn't work, then you're just kind of out of options. So after each hooker rejection, that took maybe like a week or two to really stop feeling salty about that. And when my early 20s, took a couple days when I got rejected by a woman to really come back from it, stop being salty over it. Now it's just a couple hours, take a little nap, sleep it off, make a little music. You find different ways to negate that feeling, that initial feeling of rejection. Um, in the long haul, Do I think that I'll find somebody? Now that it's this late in the game, I'm 27, um, still in the position I'm in. Uh, there's the chances grow slimmer each day. Um, Honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot of hope for me at this point, unless I win the lottery, um, or somehow become, inherit some large fortune from some relative I didn't even know about. But unless the stars align, it's probably not gonna happen. I'm gonna say that I'll probably be like the 80-year-old virgin, if I live that long, with all these health issues and shit that I have. Uh, but I always seem to come back from the health issues, so who knows? Who fucking knows? Um, it doesn't. It. I mean, it does sadden me that I won't get to experience sex before I die, or intimate relationship with another female. But it's just sometimes it's just the way it is. Sometimes you just got to look at it for what it is, and it really just move forward with that. Um, I don't really have any advice other than like the finding ways to cope. Not in a negative light. Some people drink, some smoke. Marijuana, meth. Not that I have anything against people that do that. It's just personally, I don't think that's the best way to handle the negative feelings that come attached with rejection. Because I used to be addicted to exercise, and the whole liver thing happened. I used to be in really good shape. Like I almost had like a six pack going, but the whole liver thing happened. It threw off my health, my medical well being. I developed that disease where I can't exercise as much anymore. Um, but luckily, the disease doesn't shorten life. It's just very irritating to have. It's just kind of like a minor inconvenience that you have to deal with from time to time. But it's called cholinergic. I can't even say the word. Urticaria, choler, cholinergic urticaria. I'm not good with medical terms, but essentially, anytime your body heats up or cools down rapidly, you develop hives and stuff. Um, and working out, your internal temperature gets really hot, and then I start itching, and I can't stop itching. It's like having 1,000 mosquitoes all over you that you can't control. I do go for walks, uh, not as much as I used to, but still trying to exercise a lot more. But overall, in general, I just wanted to make this um, more about how I cope with the rejection, and a lot of people wonder how that makes me feel when I get rejected. Like I said, anybody would feel pretty salty about getting rejected. I think the more important thing here is how to cope with it, finding a vice to go through, and not necessarily a negative vice, but a neutral, like sleeping, or positive, making music vice to go through, because I know that shit is rough. Um, I've been getting rejected my whole life, whether that be through women, job interviews, what have you. Um, mainly, I do all right in job interviews. I'm pretty crappy at first impressions. I, I, every time I got a job, I barely made the cut. But sometimes, at least with jobs, sometimes being just good enough is good enough. But with women, it's a whole lot. It's like playing a game of chess. One wrong move and you're out of the game. Unfortunately, you have no control over if they say yes or no. But that's understandable. But it's like sometimes you wish that even like the unattractive women and the women that are of average to unattractive, when they're rejecting you, and they're chasing after the Brad Pitts, or the Brad Pitts in the prime, or the Ryan Reynolds type of guys, and just gets pretty depressing. I know it's a struggle out there, and it's pretty hard to deal with sometimes, but we just got to keep moving forward. Uh, that's not to say that I won't meet a hooker later in life that'll fuck me. It's just that's probably the most depressing story I've told anybody, really. But it is what it is. Um, I don't know. As you get older, you just realize it's it's a depressing thing to move forward with. Probably won't find a girl or have sex or have an intimate relationship. Um, but who knows? Who knows? Could win the lottery tomorrow. Could inherit a bunch of money from a relative that I didn't even know about. A lot of things could happen. So, not counting it out yet, but not really investing a whole lot of thought and energy into it, because when you're a virgin this late in life, it definitely impacts your value in the dating game, and how people view you, your social value, a lot of other aspects. And I know a lot of people, you're like, don't tell people you're a virgin, but pretty much everybody in the metro knows I'm a virgin. If they don't, my friends have already told them. My friends will tell them. They'll find out somehow, because people, if they want to find out that information, they can find that out easily. Because I very rarely tell, if I'm trying to go after a girl, I very, very rarely tell the girl I'm a virgin. She finds out through other means and then quits talking to me. One time I was in a social setting where there was a group of girls. It was at a party, and they found out I was a virgin because we're all joking around the table, and somehow they got on the topic of sex, and my friend leaned over. He's like, "I guess you don't have any stories to tell them, do you, Garen?" And I was like, "Not really." And they're like, "Why is that?" And then, of course, he told them I was a virgin, and I was like, "Well, there it is." Well, I was thinking to myself that I didn't really say anything after that. They just kind of laughed at me and looked at me like I was, of lesser value. And this isn't the first time girls have, looked at me that way after finding out I was a virgin, but that was a pretty shitty feeling. But it is what it is. You just take it for what it is. You can't really say anything, because there is no comeback for being a virgin, especially this late in age. It's just kind of like they make fun of you for being a virgin, and you just kind of have to go with it, because standing up for yourself in that situation, you just come off looking worse. You ever seen that guy that it's kind of awkward or whatever? He tries to stand up for himself and he just looks even dumber. Yeah, that would be one of those situations where you just got to be quiet and kind of wait until it fades off in the background. Because I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about, because you've seen it, whether it's in the movies or you've seen it in real life. You see the guy, he tries to stand up for himself, and then he ends up even looking more like a joke. And I'm not really trying to. I tried to save some face there. That's why I don't really say a whole lot when that topic gets brought up. But for me, personally, rejection just is what it is these days. Just gonna keep doing what I do, keep making music, keep getting rejected, and hopefully one day, by the grace of God, miracle blessing, golden lottery ticket, that I find somebody who thinks I'm, a pretty cool dude, and looks at me in a different light than probably the majority of the world would view me as. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.